Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel VC Coin and History, where we dive deep into the world of coins, collectibles, and there the phrase liberté for light, fraternité French for liberty, equality, brotherhood is most famously known as the national motto of France. It emerged during the French Revolution 1789-1799 as a rallying cry against monarchical and aristocratic privilege, embodying the ideals of human freedom, social fairness, and mutual solidarity. Although it is French in origin, its universal appeal has meant that it appears in discussions of political philosophy, independence movements, and symbolic art far beyond France's borders. Its inclusion here might not literally appear on a 1969 Australian coin, but conceptually it sets the tone. Freedom, equality before the law, and a sense of shared community. Now, the 1-cent coin of Australia 1969 is a product of a completely different historical tradition, British Commonwealth coinage, yet it can still be interpreted through that lens of shared civic values. The 1969 Australian 1-cent coin was part of Australia's post-assimilation currency system, introduced on the 14th of February 1966, when the nation shifted from pounds, shillings and pence to the decimal dollar and cent. The coin was made of bronze, with a composition of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, giving it a warm reddish-brown tone. It measured 17.65 millimeters in diameter and weighed about 2.6 grams. The reverse side, designed by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith and jeweler to Queen Elizabeth II, depicted a feathertail glider Acrobates pygmaeus, a tiny marsupial native to Australia. This was an intentional choice. Australia's decimal coins were designed to showcase the country's unique wildlife rather than traditional heraldic symbols. The graceful glider in mid-lep symbolized agility, adaptation, and the beauty of the natural environment, values that harmonize subtly with the ideals of liberty and equality. As it celebrates the diversity and independence of native species, the obverse front side of the coin bore the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, created by Arnold Machen. This particular effigy was introduced in 1966 and became widely recognized across the Commonwealth. The inscription read, Elizabeth, II Australia 1969. This marks a key difference from the French motto. Australia in 1969 was a constitutional monarchy, not a republic, meaning the head of state was the British monarch. In your description, the word republic would seem out of place in the literal legal sense, but it can be interpreted here as a philosophical nod, the idea of governance for the people, by the people, regardless of whether it is under a monarch or a president. Interestingly, Australia has had recurring debates about becoming a republic, with referendums and public discussions. But in 1969, the monarchy remained firmly in place. As for Le Griffel, while this isn't part of official Australian mint history, it resembles a French surname. If taken metaphorically, it might be imagined as an engraver's or artist's signature in the symbolic narrative you're creating. French engravers and metallists often sign their works discreetly, and in a thematic blend of Australian and French ideals. Le Griffel could represent the artistic bridge between two traditions, one colonial British and Commonwealth, the other revolutionary and republican. The merging of these symbolic threads creates an interesting intellectual exercise. Your 1969 coin can be read as a point where British monarchy, Australian identity, and universal democratic ideals intersect. In historical context, 1969 was a year of global change. Queen Elizabeth II had been on the throne for 17 years, overseeing a commonwealth that was gradually redefining itself after the decolonization of Africa and Asia. Australia itself was finding a stronger, more independent cultural voice. The 1960s saw growing indigenous rights movements, with the 1967 referendum allowing Aboriginal people to be counted in the census and giving the federal government the power to make laws for them. While this is not directly linked to the 1-cent coin, it resonates with the eagle-eye part of the French motto, the push for equality before the law, recognition, and dignity for all citizens. From a numismatic perspective, the 1969 Australian 1-cent coin is not particularly rare in circulated condition because millions were minted. However, coins in uncirculated or proof condition with full original luster can be collectible, especially for decimal currency specialists. It is also an artifact of a bygone era. Australia ceased minting the 1-cent coin in 1992 due to inflation and the rising cost of production, and it was withdrawn from circulation shortly afterward. Today, surviving pieces serve as miniature historical documents, preserving the art style, metalwork, and political symbols of their time. If we layer symbolism onto this coin, with the French Revolutionary motto as our interpretive frame, an interesting narrative emerges. Liberty, the feathertail glider, in free mid-flight embodies freedom of movement and the natural right to live unconfined. Equality, the uniform design across all coins in circulation, means every citizen used the same currency without class distinction. In a broader sense, it nods to the push for civil rights in Australia during the late 1960s. fraternity. The shared national symbols on coinage create a sense of belonging among Australians, uniting them through a common economic and cultural system. In conclusion, your Liberty Eaglite fraternate 1 cent 1969 Australia, Elizabeth II. Republic. Le Griffel composite phrase fuses two worlds: the literal historical existence of an Australian coin minted under a monarchy, and the philosophical universality of revolutionary ideals. The coin itself is a humble yet eloquent witness to its era, one foot in British heritage, another in uniquely Australian identity, and surrounded by the timeless human aspirations for freedom, fairness, and brotherhood.